right, we're looking at page 253. What? Sweetie, it's on the board. So just get your math book, get your fraction strips. Alright, so we are talking about comparing fractions. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can compare fractions. I cannot just look at the numerators and the denominators, right? I can, but I can't. So we're going to do this one way at a time. The first thing we're going to look at is models. So you're looking at page 253. All right. We're going to look at this first because there's two scenarios that we are going to take care of right away. All right. So we are on page 253. All right. All right. So every year, every school has a fair. This year, 3/8 of the booths have face painting and 1/4 of the booths have sand art. Were there more booths with face painting or sand art? So which had more face painting or sand art? Now, the first way that they're talking about finding equivalent fractions is to use a common denominator, to find a common denominator. So here's what they did. They thought, 8 is a multiple of both 8 and 4. Okay? So I'm going to make my common denominator 8. So 3/8, because the two fractions, what two fractions am I comparing? 3/8 and 1/4. Okay, if I go back to the problem, okay, every year, every school has a fair. This year, 3/8 of the booths had face painting and 1/4 of the booths had sand art. Were there more booths with face painting or sand art? So I'm comparing 3/8 and 1/4. Right? So the first way that I can compare these two fractions is to find a common denominator. I know that 8 is a multiple of 8 and a multiple of 4. So I'm going to use 8 as my common denominator. So 3/8, I don't have to do anything with it. What about 1/4? 4 times what number equals 8? 4 times 2 equals 8. So what am I going to multiply the 1 times? 2. So when I make 1/4 into an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 8, what is my new fraction? 2/8. So now I'm comparing 3/8 and 2/8. So shade the model. So if I'm shading the model for 3/8, I'm going to color 3 pieces. And if I'm shading the model for 2/8, I'm going to color 2 pieces. All right. So how do they compare? 3/8, is it greater than, less than, or equal to 2/8? Is 3/8 greater than, less than, or equal to 2/8? It's greater than. So 3/8 is greater than 2/8. So what does that mean? 3/8 is greater than 2/8, but what was the fraction? What was the original fractions we were comparing? 1/4. So 3/8 is also greater than 1/4. All right. So that's finding a common denominator. So I can find a common denominator. And here is the deal. I'm going to show you these methods, and then we're going to camp out with one particular method, and we're going to go into detail. So we're doing this quickly. Probably not enough times for you to really truly get it. If this is the method you like the best, I'll be glad to go over with you more. But there is another method that's quicker that I'm going to show you guys to kind of use as your go-to. But you do need to be able to find common denominators. That's a huge thing in math. Got to be able to find common denominators. All right. So I can find it with common denominators, because then I can just say, well, who has the most pieces? I can also find it with a common numerator. So 3, and I find the common numerator the same way I find a common denominator. 3 is a multiple of both 3 and 1. 3/8 already has a numerator of 3. So now I'm going to find an equivalent fraction with 3 as the numerator. 1 times what is 3? 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times, so what am I going to multiply the 4 times? 3. So 4 times 3 is? 12. So if I have 3/8 and I have 3/12, so I have the same number of pieces, which pieces are smaller? The 12ths are smaller, aren't they? Because we know that the bigger the denominator, the smaller the piece. So if I have 3/12, and I can color that in, 3/12 or 3/8. So I can look again and see that 3/8 is greater than 3/12. All right, the last way we're going to look at here, and then we're going to go to our other thing. Now, this is one that might work, is you use a model. So I have 3/8, so I'm going to get 3/8 out. You can get your 3/8 out. I wouldn't dump them all on my desk because you guys tend to lose them that way. I would just take out 3/8 size pieces. And then you get the 3/12. I suggested that you don't dump them all out on your desk, but that's just my suggestion based on experience. What? So when I line 3/8 up with 3/12, which is larger? 3/8. All right, and I can do this also. I have 3/8 and 1/4. Because those were the original two fractions that I was comparing, right? All right, so as long as you've got your fraction strips out, let's do some more. All right, if you would like to put your book off to the side and just use your spice for... All right, I would like you to compare... let me see. I'm going to get out a piece of scratch paper so I can write this down. You don't need the scratch paper. I just need something to write on. All right. I want you to compare 3/4 and 1/3. So use your fraction strips to compare 3/4 and 1/3. So get 3/4 and get 1/3. All right. Let's see, I have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. That's how I do 3/4. All right, raise your hand when you got it. 3/4 and 1/3. All right, so I have 3/4 and I have 1/3. So look at my models. Look at my models. How will I compare 3/4 to 1/3? Is 3/4 greater than, less than, or equal to 1/4 or 1/3? Greater than. All right, now. Going to do the next one. All right, now I can use my pieces to compare these, but I really don't have to because they have a common numerator. If they have a common numerator, I know I have the same number of pieces, so I just have to go with the one that has the bigger pieces, right? Which of these fractions has bigger pieces? 3/5 or 3/8? 3/5 has bigger pieces. So if I compare 3 1/5 size pieces to 3 1/8 size pieces, then which is larger? Yeah, the fifths are bigger. So 3/5 is greater than 3/8. All right, what if I have common denominators? Now what am I looking at? I'm looking at the numerators because the size of the piece is the same. So now I'm looking to see where do I have more pieces. So do I have more pieces with 6/12 or do I have more pieces with 5/12? 6/12. Because that's the number of pieces. All right? Now I want you to compare 4/5 and 2/3. 4/5 and 2/3.
So we're going to use 1/3 for 2/3.
No, how many thirds will you use for 2/3?
No,
Yeah, that's 1/3. That's 1/3.
use this for 2/3.
That's what I use. I use the thirds for the 2/3, yes. So I have 4/5 and I'm going to compare that to 2/3. Naira, what are you doing?
I can't find
Sit in your desk and do this with us. All right. So I have 4/5. Well, at one time you had 3 of them. All right, I have 4/5 and then I have 2/3. Which fraction is greater, 4/5 or 2/3?
4/5.
4/5. So 4/5 is greater than 2/3. All right. Now I'm going to teach you the shortcut. Well, you don't have to use it. You can go through and find the common denominator if you'd like. That's your choice. You can use a model. You can find a common numerator. All right. So I have 2 fractions. I have 2/5 and 1/10. And I am trying to determine, I'm trying to compare the 2. So I can cross multiply. I can use my butterfly method. And I can multiply 5 times 1. And I can multiply 10 times 2. So I'm going to start. 10 times 2 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5. So is 20 greater than, less than, or equal to 5? Greater than. So 2/5, so I'm going to do my sign here. So 2/5 is greater than 1/10. And you can look at that. 2/5 is greater than 1/10. All right, go in your books to page 255. We're still in our math books. All right, let's practice some. All right, now, this one has common denominator, so I don't even have to cross multiply. 255. If my denominators are the same, then I can simply compare the numerators. So which is greater, 7/8 or 2/8? 7/8 is greater than 2/8. All right? For the next problem, I don't have any common numerators or denominators. So I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to multiply 12 times 3 and 6 times 5. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 5. What is 6 times 5?
30.
What is 12 times 3? 36. Is 30 greater than, less than, or equal to 36?
Wait, so 30 is
255. Is 30 greater than, less than, or equal to 36? Less than. So I'm going to draw my less than sign. 5/12 is less than 3/6. All right. Look at number 5. First, I'm going to look. Does it have a common numerator or a common denominator?
Yes, because it has a common denominator because
Okay, so this one has a common numerator. This one has a common numerator. So if I'm looking at the common numerator, so I have the same number of pieces, what am I comparing? I'm comparing 4/10 and 4/6. So I have the same number of pieces. I have the same number of pieces. So how will I determine which is greater? What's going to determine which is greater? If I have the same number of pieces, then what's the deciding factor? Well, the numerators are the same. The denominator is the deciding factor. What does the denominator tell me? The size of the piece. So if I have the same number of pieces, then I'm looking at the size of the piece. Which of these has a larger size? The 4/10 or the 4/6? Okay, the pieces for 4/6 are larger, right? So 4/10 is less than 4/6. What? All right. We have to understand some things about fractions that we're still missing. So let's look at this. All right. There are two things that I look at with a fraction. Okay? I have two parts, right? I have the numerator and I have the denominator. Now, do it this way. All right, the numerator is the number of pieces. So with the numerator, I'm looking at the number of pieces. The denominator is the size of the pieces. So the numerator is the number of the pieces. The denominator is the size of the pieces. So if I have a fraction, that means that I have two pieces, and each piece is 1/3. Right? Okay. So the numerator is the number of pieces. The denominator is the size of the pieces. So if my numerators are the same, then I'm comparing the size of the pieces. If my denominators are the same, I'm comparing the number of pieces. All right. 6/12 and 2/4. Do I have a common numerator or a common denominator? I do not have anything in common, so I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to multiply 12 times 2, and I'm going to multiply 4 times 6. What is 12 times 2? What is 4 times 6? Okay, so is 24 greater than, less than, or equal to 24?
Equal to.
It is equal to, so 6/12 is equal to 2/4. All right. When I compare 1/3 and 1/4, do I have common numerators or common denominators? I have common numerators, so I have the same number of pieces. Now I need to compare the size of the pieces. So which is larger, 1/3 or 1/4, Angel? Which is larger? 1/3 is larger. So I'm comparing the size of the piece. So 1/3 is greater than 1/4. All right, what about 4/5 and 8/10? Do I have anything common? No, so I'm going to cross multiply. All right, what is 10 times 4? What is 5 times 8? All right, so how do these two fractions compare? They are equal. All right, let's compare 3/4 and 2/6. I'm going to cross multiply. All right, I'm going to multiply 4 times 2, and I'm going to multiply 3 times 6. What is 6 times 3? 18. What is 4 times 2? 8. So, tell me how these two fractions compare.
Like 3 times, is it times that? Are you multiplying it?
Yes, I'm multiplying 6 times 3. Yes. Okay, which is bigger? 3/4 is greater than 2/6. Because 18 is greater than 8. All right, go ahead and compare 1/2 and 5/8. Huh? After you're done? Wait just a second. Alright, so tell me, is 1/2 greater than, less than, or equal to 5/8? Tell me. So if I cross multiply, okay, so this is 8 and this is 10. So is 1/2 greater than, less than, or equal to 5/8? It's less than. Well, what? Okay, 1/2 is less than 5/8. All right. Now we're going to stop here, but I'm going to give you an assignment for homework. So you will sit down. Not while I'm talking. While I'm talking, you don't disturb me. If there's an emergency, like a fire in the room or somebody's bleeding out, that's a time to disturb me when I'm talking. All right. You will need to, in your green folder, let's see. I may not have an extra copy of it this week. Oh, maybe this is it. No. All right, in your green folder, make sure that you go back to your assignment sheet for this week. It doesn't have a math assignment, but you're going to do a comparing fractions worksheet, so you're going to need to write that in. Comparing fractions worksheet. And that's what I'm handing out right now. This is homework. It is due tomorrow. I will take it up tomorrow for a grade. Not at the second, because we're about to go to the bathroom. All right, make sure this has holes. I'm going to put it in the front of my binder. Go ahead and put your fraction strips back in their bag. All right, stand up, face the back. Okay.